Alright, this is gonna be a short video. Did PSO2 New Genesis upon its release cover a good chunk of information item? And apparently someone's staring at me because I said some stuff in the chat and I messed up my chat command. Anyways, ignoring that. Did New Genesis cover a lot of the beginner stuff, the mechanics functions that are available in the game? I would say yes. And now some of the stuff that you would need to know isn't revealed yet, or it wasn't shown through the actual story. However, there is a game guide that you can stare at. So if you open up the menu, go to systems, you go to help, there's a lot of information over here, and it talks about a lot of these key aspects. It talks about the enemies, talks about your power level, battle power, talks about the task. It covers a good chunk of things. If I check the battle power level, for example, it explains what influenced your battle power level. I do have a video talking about it, but I decided to go a bit into further investigation, details, experimentation with a lot of the core things and see how much you can get. The game does not explain how much you can get for doing this, this, and this. It only states the very basic stuff that you would need to know. Now, this is a bit of an issue because if you were to try to figure out to engage in, try to decipher that of augments and affixes, it's not going to go heavy into those details just yet. Or maybe it won't do that with this game guide. Once again, it's covering the basics. It doesn't cover every little thing and what it does exactly. So you would have to find other sources for that, or you would need to experiment with said function in detail. Now, the big thing is, especially with the story, it does a good and bad thing. The big thing that I'm annoyed with the story is that I have to actually do it almost all the time for most of my characters. Now, I already made a video talking about the pros and cons to it. You can check that out, upper right hand corner or in the description. It's just that, yeah, I don't like how the story locks everything. Back in base PSO2, everything was unlocked. You didn't need to do a story or the very specific things so you can unlock a bunch of stuff. If you make a new character, it was already open. Like, you didn't need to do a story quest so you can get into Monica and Dudu and go into affixing, augmenting, enhancing, and all that. It was not a thing. But apparently they stressed that out in New Genesis, which is a good and bad move. It's a good move because that means you can't skip it and you would need to go through the tutorial and understand all these concepts and ideas. The problem is, if you have multiple characters and you can easily breeze through them and you don't need to be repeated like 5 times plus on what to do and how to do it exactly, then you don't want to do that, but it is what it is. So yeah, they did cover a good chunk of it. The big thing about the Gigantix, and I might make a video before the maintenance kicks in, about the Gigantix is that a Gigantix is pretty much a special, most likely rare version of a boss. Where are you? I think you're down here? No, it's in enemies. So Gigantix is right here. So Gigantix are very powerful enemies that appear under certain weather conditions. If you are not prepared to fight them due to your levels being too low or your equipment being too weak, you should try to avoid combat with them. With that being said, there's a number of factors you gotta consider. The big one, the big rule that I'll stress is knowing your enemy and practicing with said enemies. If a Gigantix is just this, a very powerful version, if I remember from the closed beta when I played over there in global, I did bump into one. It's just that I didn't want to fight it because I was definitely out of its level range and I was not equipped to fight such a thing. So this thing is going to be a nuisance, but if you practice and if you know some of the core aspects of mechanics and most likely have a party with you, it's not going to be that bad to fight against. But I will make a separate video going further into details about that. When it comes to New Genesis video, after this video, I've been experimenting, touring around with a bunch of stuff. There's a good chunk of things I still need to experiment with. However, the big one that I will most likely start to get into will be augmenting and fixing and giving a lot of the core basics when it comes to that, and then also stating what abilities you should go for, because Yeah, there's a number of things to consider when it comes to going for certain abilities, but I will stress that in that later video. So thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. If you have any question, comment, concerns, put it down below. But other than that, I'll see you guys around. Peace.